Hello. I'm Asherah. Welcome to my channel. I've took my extensions out, so I've just got my dreads today. All right, so let's keep it moving. And seriously, I probably should stay on the topic a little bit longer. Do you know what I mean? Got my dreads out today without my extensions. Why is that important? Because you know what? Because obviously I've been fighting this spiritual warfare, and part of that spiritual warfare was losing my hair all over my body, alopecia, eyelashes, eyebrows, red hair. So the little hair growth is a fucking miracle. Do you know what I mean? Like my hair has grown down my back and then some, and I've lost it 3 times. Do you know what I'm saying? So where I am now, it is what it is. And yesterday and today, I've just been walking around and going about my business. I've been on the road. I'm feeling like the sexiest thing since sliced bread. And it's a good feeling. It's a really, really good feeling because it is what it is, isn't it? And the self-love and the energy that I've been putting into myself and that spirit's been putting into me and the divine's been putting into me, it's paying off. Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. So I feel really good. So before I play this video that I'm listening to at the moment, I had a counseling session today. And in one of my previous videos, I talk about that spirit is telling me that I'm going to go back into mental health services. All right. But this time when I go in there, it won't be under that severe spiritual warfare as what I was experiencing in 2024. It'd be as an observer. Like basically I'm going to like record my experience while I'm in there and the process. So anyway, today, Spirit wanted me to test something. I had a conversation with my counsellor who has been allocated to me because in February I was sexually assaulted. But it wasn't about that. It was spiritual warfare. All right. But the point is, that situation allocated me this therapy. And we've been talking for a few weeks now. Blah, 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 blah. And today I thought I'm going to disclose. It was like, disclose something with her because we want to test it. We want to test it on her before we bring it directly into mental health services and see what the temperature is. So I did it today and I just disclosed a little tiny snapshot. And she was like, this is a safeguarding issue. I'm going to speak to the safeguarding team. And depending on what they say, I want to refer it back. I'm going to contact your GP, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, but my GP is already aware. Yeah, because I've already informed my GP since February. My GP made a referral to mental health services and mental health services rejected it. Then Women's Aid contacted my GP. My GP made another appointment with me. I attended that appointment this week and my GP has appealed the rejection and sent another referral. So I'm saying like what she wants to do is already in motion, but she still wants to do it. But what that gave me was confirmation and testimony that I cannot just walk into mental health services and say what the fuck I want. which is kind of what I'm planning to do, or at least what Spirit wants me to do. Spirit wants me to go in there and disclose truth. Have them going away with me. I'm recording the whole thing anyway, and then obviously that will support or whatever certain things in the future, because obviously I live very much in the future, so I already can see what the future looks like. But in order for the future to look like that, I have to take the steps in the present now to ensure that the future looks like that. And taking the steps here in the present is a lot of the time going into the shadow of the valley of death, like mental health services, because what I'm disclosing has the potential to get me sectioned again. How exciting. How exciting. Do you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, it is choppy water. Nobody wants to be locked up in mental health services and not be able to get out, which is where I was last time. And I think that's why I feel so excited about it, because I've already experienced it. I've already experienced being trapped in mental health services. Nobody believing what he's saying. Them thinking that your truth is madness, so they're locking you up even more. You go through an appeals case with a solicitor. Your solicitor fucks you over. Freemasons are in the fucking appeals meeting, the tribunal. They want me to react in a way that they want me to kick off. Spirit has already told me what I go on, so obviously I'm not going to kick off. But I've got to sit there listening to all of these lies and this bullshit being told about me and just alchemize in the burn and sit in my own truth. I'm like, really? Is it? I saw it go. You know, one of them ones. And then come out the meeting, request information under the Freedom of Information Act. So basically, I want the minutes from the tribunal. Now I can't get the blood clot minutes. But what I'm saying is that all of the fact that I've sent emails requesting this, emails requesting this over the last year and a half. Do you know what I mean? And still nobody can't answer. They're in breach of the Freedom of Information Act anyway. You know, fuck everything else. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, there is more to this story to unfold. And part of that unfolding is me stepping into this shadow of death and going down this valley. So I understand the risk that I'm taking going back into mental health services, but these are the gangster thing that Spirit has me doing. You know what I mean? So I trust in the Almighty. I trust that everything is absolutely fine. And we're gonna go see what's going on. So today, when she called me back to tell me that she'd spoken to her safeguarding team, and they had said yes, it needs to go to the GP. So she's gonna make that call to my GP. I recorded that conversation. Now, I had previously asked about recording other conversations, and she was like, if it's a therapy session, I would need to get permission first and foremost. But this is not a therapy session. This is a call that she's called outside of our therapy contract to give me an update on the circumstances. So I'm going to play it, all right, just so that you can kind of see and hear what's going on in my world.
How are you? Okay. All right, thank you. Well, my clients, after you cancelled, so I was able to talk to our safeguarding team. And before I do anything, I just want to let you know what I'm going to do, okay? I want to be transparent with you. I'm, as I thought they would say, all they want me to do is just to put it on your GP's radar that another professional is concerned about you, and that we would urge that they push back. We know that they're already doing, I already know that they're doing it, but we would urge them to make sure that that referral has gone to the mental health team again, because another professional is concerned, just to give some weight to it with the mental health team. So that's essentially it.
Okay. So when you're contacting my GP, can I be copied in that communication?
Well, we phone them. We phone them in the first instance, so there may be no other communication other than that telephone. And it literally is to say what I've just said to you. We don't tend to get into detail about that unless they really push, and then we say, well, we haven't got formal consent. We're telling you because we're concerned from a safeguarding perspective, because they may say to us, well, can you do a referral to the mental health team? And we're going to push back on that and say, no, you're the clinicians, you need to do that.
Well, they wouldn't, because she's already done it, hasn't she? So
yeah, so we're only reinforcing what they've already done. This is more, if you look at it from this perspective, this is more to give it weight for the mental health team. Okay. It's stupid, isn't it? That your GP should be able to say, Women's Aid have said it, and we're going to say it. So all it's doing is strengthening your GP's pushback.
Okay.
And I really do, and I'm really conscious that you see it from, that you're able to kind of see what we're trying to do here.
I do see what you're doing, Lainey, and the point that I was making was just because the doctor already has that understanding, which is why they've doubled down on this referral letter.
Yeah.
Being quite strict. And not only that, she identified that the GP that had rejected my mental health referral was a doctor who works in the mental health crisis team. She's familiar with him rejecting cases. So she had already made that statement and kind of pushed back on the argument. So that from that perspective, it is what it is, isn't it? And I think that's where I was coming from today, that that impression has already been given to the GP, which is why they're appealing the rejection and putting it forward again.
Yeah, and this we're all thinking, I think, from the same hint here. We just want you to be as supported as you can, as you can be. Like I say, we just want, and I personally, my organisation obviously wants the best for you, but I personally want the best for you. Okay.
So with regards to moving forward, because obviously my point today, Lainey, of disclosing what I disclose was about getting a non-biased, if you like, opinion on what it is that I'm actually sharing. So the outcome that I was hoping for hasn't necessarily been met from my side. Does that make sense in terms
of course, of course. When you spoke to your GP that led to the referral, what did you tell your GP?
What I explained earlier. I've explained to the GP that more probably leaning towards the sexual assault in February and having these, not knowing if it's flashbacks or if it's my mind just giving me these visions, because I have no accountability of what happened during those 10 hours. And because of that, it's playing on my mind. Do you know what I mean? So that's triggering me. I'm aware that these additional pressures are adding to an already pressurized.
I just want to clarify something, because that isn't my actual truth. I'm not having any flashbacks from the assault, not yet anyway. You know what I mean? So that isn't the truth. But that was a better way of explaining that I'm having something visually going on in my head, and I'm unable to distinguish between 3D reality and 5D reality on certain situations. Does that make sense? Because if I had come from that angle, then as soon as I put my foot in the door, it would have automatically been perceived as something related to psychosis, because she's hearing things. She's saying that there are elements that she's hearing or that she's seeing from a 5D perspective. And what I shared with Lainey today about that 5D perspective of that there being certain entities and energies around me that feel like they mean me no good. They wanna literally harm me, or they want me to harm myself or the people around me, or get me to sabotage my situation. Yeah? Remember, this is spiritual warfare. So from that perspective, I can't share that perspective at the beginning of the gate. I wanted to share that perspective, or at least I'm being guided to share that perspective once I'm inside the gate. But by sharing those perspectives, those are the perspectives that can lead to me being sectioned under the Mental Health Act against my will. Does that make sense? So this is why there's a thin line to toe, basically. Yeah. So I just want that to be clear. But in order for the GP to have an understanding at the level that she is, because obviously she's not spiritual or anything like that, so I don't want to go in on the deep end. I'm just saying to the GP that at the moment I'm having flashbacks because of a situation that is triggering me, and because I've already gone through that episode, if you like, according to them, as psychosis, I'm saying to them that I can feel that I am on that tipping point. Yeah. So this is why it's an assessment. So when I went for the first assessment, that guy was adamant, no, definitely going to refer you to mental health services and possibly even medication. And then once they made that referral, it's that team that overall has the say, that has said, we don't think they qualify. And that's what's come back to the GP, and the GP has pushed back on. And then Lainey is saying that she wants to just support that. So if the mental health team pushes back again, there's 3 organisations in a row now pushing forward, basically. Now, when that pushback came the other day, prior to that pushback coming, I had already had information that there was a pushback. Yeah. And I had it at the moment that I was sharing what I was doing with my daughter, who I know has energy monitoring spirits around her that work for the opposition. Yeah. So it was a test. It was a test to talk my business in the company of somebody to see what the outcome would be. And the outcome was that the mental health team rejected my application. You understand? So I already seen that there is evidence that when I talk certain things around this particular person, certain plans going forward get stopped in their track. You understand? So it's one of them ones. But what the Almighty is showing me is that nothing can't get stopped, because you don't have to fight your own battle. We're going to line up certain people every single time to fight your battle for you. So what I'm being shown right now in the 3D is what I've already been told is the case in the 5D. I got Women's Aid lined up, I got the .GP lined up, and now I got my girl lined up, all pushing forward, speaking on my behalf that no, we need to go forward with this. Now, there are many elements as to why Spirit want this to go forward, because there are other additional things taking place in the 3D that I'm working through. Yeah, so one example of that would be, I've talked about me filing for sovereignty. Yeah, so going through the whole straw man thing and signing myself off as a non-citizen. Like, I am not a human being, I'm not a person. I'm a natural living woman. Yeah, I'm a natural living being here under instruction by divine law, the divine creator, and that is the only law that I abide by. So please don't chat to me. Council, don't chat to me. Law, don't chat to me. Government, don't chat to me. Politics, don't chat to me. The Vatican, don't chat to me. And the reason why I say don't chat to me is because I've submitted orders on them in divine law, under divine principle, to say to them, I am who I am. I'm a spiritual being in flesh walking on this planet. Real talk. Yeah. So every Wednesday for 6 weeks straight, a letter sealed up in blood. Yeah, my blood, fingerprint down, thumbprint, because that's how things used to be signed back in the days. It weren't this black pen. The fact that we write in black pen is spell work in the first place, because black is death. When you get in those letters from the court and your name comes in capital letter, they're killing your blood again and again and again while your body's shipped out. They've got your soul on the sea in some fucking ship, because you gave them your birthright, because you signed over your birth certificate to these monsters, and because they've got your birth certificate, they own you in contract law here. They've got you in a contract that says that they can spend your divine energy and keep you trapped here on earth. So there's certain things you got to do in the spirit, and there's certain things you got to do in the 3D. And the certain things I had to do in the 3D was serve my documentations on these motherfuckers. I served it on the Pope Francis at the Vatican. I served it on the Prime Minister at 10 Downing Street. I served it on the Secretary of State in the UK. I served it on the Office of Vital Statistics, where your birth certificates are kept. I served it on the court. I served it on the police. I served it on the council. Yeah. I served it on my GP. I served it on the passport office. Every motherfucker knows that I'm here as a spiritual being walking in flesh. This ain't no plaything to me. This is real. This is real in the spirit world, and this is real in the 3D world. So when I'm saying that these motherfuckers know who I am and I'm being watched, it's not a plaything. It's a serious thing to me, because I know that I've already actioned it. And when I walked into court on the 22nd of May, 2023, it was a mad thing. I walked into court, and the judge who was dealing with divorce proceedings had my documents on her dock with her. And when I say my documents, I'm talking about my free papers, my divine law contracts that I served on the court. And how did I know that those were my papers? Because when you serve those documents, you serve them on duck, egg, blue. Yeah. So duck, egg, blue. So that's the color of the paperwork. Duck, egg, blue. And those papers, those words get served on a particular color of documentation. There's different colors that different documents get served on, but your equilateral dipole gets served on blue, duck egg blue paper. So I could see that my girl had my paperwork on the dock. Yeah, that document weren't served through divorce papers, but in my divorce legal papers, I served scripture out of the Bible, what Spirit had given me to put in there, and I served information that I know through my divine trust in those divorce papers, but I did not serve divine paperwork and divorce papers as two documents together. The blue paperwork is separate, mate. And when I walked into that court, she refused to go ahead with court proceedings and wanted me to come out of her court. This is my court. This is my court. I want you out. And I turned around and Spirit shouted through me, this is not your court. This is my court. I am the highest authority in this court. She's like, order, order. Should have seen her banging on her gavel. My fucking gavel, you know. Should have seen this bitch banging on her gavel, banging on her gavel. Remember, this ain't hearsay, you know. This is fact. And I've got the court transcript too. Yeah, so this ain't no plating. And not only have I got the court transcript, I've got the order the girl tried to put in place after the fact. And the order was a muzzle order. The order was to make sure that I cannot talk and represent myself in any other case going forward. Can you imagine? I'm a divine being. I'm here under divine law, blood. I run canon law and divine law through the fucking documents. That's the first original law. I ran Mosaic law through the blood clot documents. You can't say shit to me. Let me tell you something about the judge system. Yeah, the judicial system. What a lot of people do not know is that a judge is not a judge. There is only one judge, and that is God, the Almighty Divine Creator. We all know that. Yeah, that's not news. Yeah, we all know there's one judge. We also know that the Divine Creator has specifically said, revenge is mine. It is not your responsibility or prerogative to go and seek judgment on anybody. So man on this earth cannot feel like they truly hold a position to judge a next man, especially when half these judges are out there doing whatever the fuck they're doing. Hello? Them and the preachers. Do you get what I'm saying? So there isn't an equal person on this planet to judge another person. Does that make sense? The judgment comes from divine law. What's supposed to happen is the methodology that happened with the principles of like King Solomon. King Solomon was a great leader as recorded, and he was a great leader because he was a mediator. He was a mediator between two opposing arguments. Two people presented their case and the case was heard. Evidence is submitted at that case. Witnesses are brought forward to those cases, and based on the information presented on a series of facts that have been confirmed by witnesses or others, King Solomon then makes a judgment as to who is right or wrong. So we know the story in the Bible about King Solomon when the two women brought before him a situation where two women had given birth to a baby. One baby had died, and one of the women both women were claiming that the living baby was theirs. They brought their case to King Solomon, and King Solomon heard them. He was not there to pass down judgment. But based on the information given to him, because there was no witnesses and there was no testimony. These are two women claiming to have rights over a baby. So what he did when he thought about it, he presented a case forward, and he says to them, I know, we're going to cut the baby in half, and we'll give one woman half the baby and the other woman the other half of the baby. And what King Solomon did, it wasn't to put something so irrational forward. It was to observe the responses of the two women. And what the two women showed him is that there was a woman that was saying, yeah, fine, cut the baby in half. And another woman saying, absolutely not. Give her the baby. Give her the baby. She can have the baby. And that's what King Solomon was watching for. Does that make sense? Because sometimes it's not just the evidence. Sometimes you have to check in a multiple of different ways and use a level of emotional intelligence to get the answer and get the truth. And based on the fact that the woman who turned around and said, fine, chop the baby in half. Baby, no mother's going to turn around and chop the baby in half. You'd rather tell a woman, take the pitney. I'd rather the pitney be alive. Do you understand me? Than be dead. What the fuck? So he awarded the woman who had said she can have the baby. He said, you are the true mother of the baby, because no mother would see their pitney chopped in half. But his responsibility was to mediate. It wasn't to call judgment. And that's where our court system has gone not horribly wrong, because in their eyes and their master worldwide fucking old world order plan, that's what the fuck it was, to dominate. It was to actually have authority over us. They want to be the judge. They want to be the administrator, the judge, and the executioner. How can one person be the administrator? That's the judge looking over the information. The judge is the person looking over the evidence in my court proceedings and most court proceedings. It's a judge. The legal executive, the solicitor / lawyer, the barrister are all responsible for putting together court bundles, which is just paperwork of a series of facts or evidence or information, as well as non-facts, presumptions and assumptions, which is what the fucking court system is based on. And if you really want to go deep, go check out the 12 assumptions of fucking law, and that will really show you how colourful the fucking law system is. But these motherfuckers want to go on like they're judge, jury and executioner, when really they're there as administrators to look over the paperwork that they're relying on these dickheads to put forward. And half the time these fucking dickheads don't even know what they're fucking doing. And I know that as a testimony, because I've tried out these dickheads. I'm more smarter than these barristers and lawyers. Fact. And I'm not saying every single barrister and lawyer, but the ones that I have been privy to work with, absolutely. Because I've tested it. I've tested it in a way where I know that you guys are taking the fucking piss, and I'm going to show you how. And then Spirit led me to Tesco. And while I was in Tesco, there was this woman talking, and Spirit said, go and follow the woman. And it was during COVID. And I swear down, this queue in Tesco was about 2 miles long. And I did not want to come out of the queue. And Spirit said, go and talk to the woman. And I left the queue. I left my trolley in the queue. And I went and chased down the woman in Tesco. And I said, I know you don't know me, but I just got to say hi. I mean? My name's Asherah. She's like, my name's Natalie, what do you do? She said, I'm a divorce lawyer. And I was like, Jesus Christ almighty. Not only was this woman a divorce lawyer, she worked previously for the law company that I had a problem with. And when I explained to her what was going on, she was like, you know what, you need to work out your units. And I said, my fucking unit. She was like, yeah, what have they charged you? Because every 0.1 is a charge for money. So you need to work out all your 0.2, 0.3, what the fuck, 0.1, 0.2, 0.5 for a fucking email. Are you serious? No, go and work out what your solicitors are charging you. Yeah, get into the point system and work out the blood clot point system. Because I was charged over £1,000 fucking pounds for sending them my own emails, babe. So when I actually filed my fucking complaint and broke down their system to them, there was no denying it. I got an apology in writing, and I got my case I got money over £1,000 refunded back to me. So I'm not talking what I think. Everything I say on my channel, I've got the receipts and the evidence to prove it. Big time. I don't mess about with paperwork and filing, because Spirit are very, very meticulous on this game, because they know in the future this is what's going to be, and the cases are going to come out, and the information's going to be there. So best guess what? Let's file it all now, so we don't have to do it then, innit? Because who wants to be doing it then? Let's be ready. Let's stay ready so we don't have to get ready. That's how Spirit operates. Let's stay ready so we don't have to get ready. So I've been ready from time. Testimony. Oya's going on with things today. I've had an ascension with Mother Oya today on the bed. And it was so beautiful. I connected. And oh my God, when I say these dances that are coming out of me, these spiritual rituals, and I'm moving, it feels like I'm moving the wind. Like, I appreciate there's a lot of people out there that are going to be like, what are you talking about? But there's also going to be a lot of people out there that understand that we are airbenders. We are the last avatars. You know what I mean? Enough of us out there are airbenders. You understand me? We can move the wind. You know what I'm saying? Move the trees. 2021, I swear to God, I was out there bawling in the back garden. Yeah, bawling. There was so much going on in my marital house and relationship. I was in the garden bawling during COVID. And every time I put down a ball, I noticed that the trees were going on wild to the point where it was interrupting my bawling session because I was bawling, when I was cow bawling out there. So every time I'm bawling, I'm like, what's the matter with the trees? So I start to bawl again, and the trees are going on with themselves, and I stop bawling, the trees start going on with themselves. So I start bawling again, and the trees are going on with themselves. What the fuck is going on here? Does that mean so I allowed these emotions to roll through my body and watch the wind? Anyway, that was me in the garden just fucking about. You see, when I went inside the house, I was stopping in the kids' bedroom on the floor, and I looked outside the kids' bedroom window that was at the front of the house, and the neighbour's tree, a big fucking tree, was on top of their house. It had blown out the ground from the roots. When I say that the roots that had lifted out the ground was about 1.5 meters, or 1.30 meters, the width of these roots that had just come in a circumference. Yeah. On top of the neighbour's house, the tree cutter ambulance, well, not ambulance services, but whatever those emergency services. Ambulance did turn up, don't get me wrong, just to make sure nobody was hurt, but the tree people came and had to chop it down. You know what I mean? Because it had fallen on the roof, the windows, the cars, because it was such a big tree with all the branches and the leaves and everything. Like it didn't even make sense how this tree had come out of the ground anyhow, because of how much roots was on it. It left a hole in the ground. They were out there trying to chop down this tree for most of the day. You know what I'm saying? And then because it was such a thing, it ended up in the newspaper. So when I say that I've got receipts and testimony, I can show you the newspaper article of the tree falling down randomly on the road 2 doors away. Now, whether it's linked or it's not linked, at this point isn't even relevant, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to share with you today that I had an experience with Mama Oya, who is Storm, in essence, from an Avenger, X-Man kind of point of view. She is the deity like Storm. Storm is depicted of her archetype, basically, or should I say Storm is the archetype of Oya. And Oya is one of the Yoruba traditional deities. Yeah, but my ancestor lineage is in that, as well as, don't get me wrong, but they introduced themselves to me. Yeah, I was with someone that was very, very familiar with them, and they had actually gone through initiations to have relationships with them. Yeah, but I don't believe, not that I don't believe in those initiations, because obviously the Freemason and all the rest of it, I see the initiations, and I see myself going through certain initiation rituals, as well as with my ancestors too. So I do believe in initiations through rituals. I just don't believe that the way in is through introduction. I think that we should be working on ourselves so that they get to a point where they notice us and come and introduce themselves to us, rather than us being forced upon them and then manipulate and abusing their energy. Does that make sense? It's a different relationship, completely different relationship. And I saw that from me riding with this voodoo guy, one of my first fuck trigger, if you like. He was heavily into voodoo, heavily into Haiti witchcraft, and heavily into masonry, and got himself really caught up in some fucked up shit that he'd got his daughter taken off him and put into care services, because it's like she was leverage for the fuckery that he was supposed to do to me. You know what I mean? And I knew that, don't get me wrong, I already had the understanding that that's what it is, because when I first got involved with him, my ancestors took over my body one night when I was in the house with him, and I don't know what came out of my mouth, but when I came through, he was just shouting at me, "You fucking bitch, you fucking, get the fuck out of my house." Can you imagine waking up? Why was I even sleeping anyway? But waking up to that, threatening me, pushing me, literally forcing me out the front door. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't even know where my car is. I'm disorientated. I've been smoking weed. then was the early days, so the weed thing was a mad thing for me, but my ancestors was like, get the weed, so that they could control my body more, innit? And I was like, get in the car, and I was like, I can't drive, and he's screaming, really going on with himself. I was absolutely terrified, but not because my ancestors were with me, and I was like, get in the car, and I was like, I can't drive, and I was like, get in the car and start the engine. And then I just remember waking up, hearing the car going over the gravel of my house, because my drive is like that. And then me breaking the car and then going in the house, literally vomiting my guts out and then falling asleep. I didn't even brush my teeth. You know what I mean? And then getting the downloads the next day, his baby mother calling me, texting me, I'm so sorry, come back, it's all my fault. What? Do you know what I'm saying? And then spirit downloading me that these two are in cahoots. This is a karmic masculine, a karmic feminine, and their job, their mission is to basically hustle me. Yeah, do I accept the mission and the challenge? I have to go back in there with that guy who was just screaming and shouting at me, accusing me of getting his daughter locked up, accusing. I've said to him, police are on their way to his yard. Somewhere in a conversation, he has heard me say, police are on their way. So he thinks I'm an informant. He thinks that I'm working with some outside forces. He thinks I fucked him over. So when I say that my man's vibe towards me on that night was next level, yeah? Remember, a man truly believes whatever has come out of my fucking mouth, yeah? Man truly believes that he's set up and police are on his way right now. So fair game of whatever he does to me, because it's, as far as he's concerned, it's already done gone bad at this point. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is, in this house where I am right now, because obviously I had to go back into the lion's den, in this house with that guy, he turned and said to me that he's fucked. And I said, why you fucked? He said, you fucked me. You've killed me. You fucking killed me. He says to me, how have I killed you? But I now know what kind of, anyway, will know what he meant by that, because he was betting on me. He was betting on me that I was going to be the sacrifice. Not him, not his, but whatever he had put as collateral, it was to assure them that he could get me. And in this house, when that motherfucker realized that that's not how this game is playing out, he turned to me in that bedroom there and told me that I had fucked him. You fucked me. But his mission was to fuck me. So what's the fucking problem, nigga? I keep telling these niggas, all is fair in love and war, babe. Why are you crying about it after the fact? Why are you crying because you got fucked over when your mission was to fuck me over? Why are you acting like the victim? Crying like a motherfucking bitch, complaining to everybody that you got done over when your mission was to do me over. You served divorce papers on me, remember? What's the problem? So why are you acting like, say, you want me? These are the fucking things these motherfuckers do. It's this gaslighting. It's this reverse psychology bullshit. That's what these narcissistic spirits are all about. Trying to get you fucked up in the head. You can't even trust your judgment. They don't want you trusting your intuition. None at all. None at all. You know, but as I said, let me finish off this thingy actually, because that was the whole point.
Situation.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of where it is for me. But what I was hoping for is to be able to talk in a way where there was an understanding that I see this through a spiritual lens, and wanting to kind of dig deeper into that, because I understand what's happening and I feel like I have control over the situation in terms of not harming myself or anybody else. And the evidence of that is the 2 years that I've been kind of living with it and beyond, if you like, and not making those choices. Does that make sense? So I kind of want to have a conversation more about what is actually happening and how I dissect that. Does that make sense? So Yeah, it's more about what is happening as opposed to am I safe with what's happening? Because I feel like the safety is there, but it doesn't stop what's happening. And that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm trying to talk about. That's what I'm trying to unpick.
Yeah. Okay. Well, going back to your original question, do I think that potentially this makes you vulnerable to being sectioned? I'm not a clinician and I can't give you an answer.
That wasn't my question. That's not
at the start of the session,
at the start of the question, it was just about whether or not how it sounds, basically, not even putting it in a category. How it's what I'm saying, how is it being perceived? And from your response today, it makes me feel like I'm not safe to disclose my actual truth without it being seen as something unsafe, when actually, even though that is there and that safeguarding is present, and I understand the role that you're playing within that, from my perspective, that's not the important priority right now. Does that make sense? The priority for me is being able to talk openly in the first place and feeling safe about that. Because if I don't disclose, I can't actually get the help or support that I need. But I won't disclose if I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So how do we get to that point?
Absolutely. Okay. Well, try. I'm talking off the hoof here, so I haven't formulated. So if it comes out clumsily, I apologise.
At least it's real, isn't it?
You, in these sessions, you are able to talk and will be heard and listened to about anything that you want to talk about within the parameters, obviously, of the pretrial therapy stuff that we talked about before. So you can talk. But then when what I heard today was I might not be safe, and that's when the kind of safeguarding stuff kicks in. But you, in terms of what you share in these sessions, will always be heard and not judged, which is what I think you would hope for.
But I feel like if I continued in the direction where I wanted to go today, most of our conversations might end up with a safeguarding thing at the end.
Right.
Does that make sense? And I want to be as open and transparent without that being the outcome, because actually there is so much more to unpick. Do you know what I mean? So actually, that's where I feel like that's my safe place, being able to talk to someone who has that understanding. And I thought that's what this was, Lainey, because of the openness of our relationship. Does that make sense? So, for example, me saying to you and disclosing that I feel like I can fly, like the belief is. Do you know what I mean? And your response to that was, you also share a common belief. Like, we both know that's not a reality. Do you know what I mean? In the 3D. But we also know within us there is also a belief that is the reality. Does that make sense? So they contradict each other. And I need to be able to have that conversation where it is a contradiction. But we're both aware that it is. Do you know what I mean? We're both aware and we're on the same page that what I'm saying is a contradiction. That doesn't automatically trigger a safeguarding alert, because there is an understanding that it isn't what it is, but it is what it is at the same time. And that's the line I want to toe on.
But as you said, both can be true at the same time, can't they?
And they are, Amy, and that's the point.
Absolutely. And, you being able to share anything, only you can determine what you want to share.
I share everything, Lainey. That's the point. I want to be able to be open and transparent with everything, because this is my experience. Do you know what I mean? I want to be 100% open with my experience, but I also want to be able to share that experience through a spiritual lens, and not everything is a safeguarding / mental health issue. And it's kind of being able to kind of have that level of maturity, if you like, in these dynamic conversations where it's kind of like, all right then, Asherah, you say that you feel like there's forces working against you. Let's dig a little bit deeper into that. And so I can disclose what I understand in a spiritual sense and what I understand in a research perspective. Does that make sense? Because everything that I say that I'm having an experience spiritually with, I can give you the 3D reality in that experience too. I'm grounded in both perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, from our perspective, you're absolutely right. Every conversation, you want to feel able to be open and without the fear of it always being a safeguarding issue.
Or mental
I
health.
completely understand that.
Can we not just have a
Would there be
spiritual
very much more
conversation
that we
within
would
mental
do?
health
Probably
services?
not. Does that make sense? Because we've put the purpose of today will be to put this on your GP's radar, and then we can go back. You know, unless there was something. You know, when I went into this conversation with the safeguarding team today, I caveat, preface this with, I'm almost brain dumping in something with you. I'm concerned from a safeguarding perspective. Is this a safeguarding issue? And going into that conversation, and that's where their expertise comes in and says, look, we do have to do something. But that doesn't mean to say that every conversation we will have will necessarily lead to that.
But it might do, ladies. So for example, the first thing to come into my head is, I've said to you that I've been to 7 countries so far, and I'm due to, somehow, some way. But once I start to get into what actually has happened on these holidays, I'm sure some safeguarding concerns will come up. Do you know what I mean, lady? And this is what I'm saying. But yet, still, I have returned home every single time,
safe and sound.
And it's kind of that's the maturity that I'm talking about. That yes, there are safeguarding concerns, but the way that it's being handled doesn't say this person needs safeguarding. Does that make sense?
And you know something? If I took the personal out from the professional, when I said to you, do you think you will harm yourself? And you said no.
Yeah.
However, I believe that there might be other forces at work that could lead to some harm coming to me.
That I find, yeah, definitely.
Right.
Hence the sexual assault.
But if you ask me on the personal level, but then I'm not just the personal here, I'm the professional too.
Yeah.
And I have to balance the two.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm saying. So, for example, when I disclose further, or should that be the case, these holiday experiences have been nothing but safeguarding experiences.
Okay.
I'm telling you that, Lainey. Does that make sense? There have been so many times I have felt unsafe. So many times I have actually been in unsafe situations. And this is the point, Lainey.
I weren't safe in the madhouse.
As much as I travel through the shadow of the valley of death,
Easy.
I always come out the upper end.
Easy.
But into the shadow I must go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like this spiritual game, it's not all roses and bloody flowers.
No, of course not. I think I completely, I can only say to you, I'm here for you. What you choose to share with me, I can't control.
Listen to that.
And I will have to act accordingly with that.
But there's always a duality
I think I've been
in
transparent.
every
I would hope that the
experience.
sessions you've
So
seen and
just
heard,
then, I was in the moments, and how lovely is that? The divine is showing me that there's people coming along to have my back, yeah. But I just also saw Lainey in another dimension, just as those words came out my mouth. I seen her in the dimension where she's not with me, she's on the opposing side, and what that energy feels like. Does that make sense? Which means in this reality, I have one foot in a potential outcome where she's all for me, and I have the opposite side where there's an outcome where she's not for me. So therefore, the information that I give her, I almost have to toll and balance it between those two possible outcomes. Let's put it that way. There are two possible outcomes. She could be for me and she might not be for me. So therefore, how do you then start to operate moving forward when actually you don't know what she's going to play out? I mean, you do know because you see the future, but that's the point, isn't it? Like, okay, there's 2 points. There's the point that I see the future and get little snapshots like what I just did to know that it's not 100% safe to fall in love with the love. Because if I do that, I push the needle too far this way. And that's why I was shown the opposite dimension, the opposite spectrum. Yeah, it was like a subtle, not warning, but a subtle reminder that there's always two dualities. And I need to bring my radar back into the middle where I ain't looking at my girl like she can do me something. And I ain't looking at my girl like she can't do me something. I've just got my head straight. And I'm going to be obedient to spirit regardless. I don't business about the outcome. Me no business if she's a friend. And I don't business if she's a foe. I just business about making sure that I tick every single box that spirit wants me to do on this blood clot journey. So for example, up until today, it was a case of, or mentally speaking, that my girl hadn't done anything to make me think that my girl would drop me at a drop of a hat if I did something that she deemed to not be, or if she got Mr. Smithed and one of these Masonic entities were able to MK Ultra her and promise her riches against my spiritual inheritance, that if she does me over and fucks me over basically, she'll get paid out. So enough of these people around me get approached in that way. And that's why the shift from being all about me to not being about me. So there are lots of dynamics that could change the relationship between me and this girl. And that's why spiritual discernment is utmost. If you want anything in your toolbox, it's fucking discernment. And you want discernment for the 3D, as in knowing when a red flag is a fucking red flag. Hello? Not trying to tell yourself it's not a red flag. The man's on your set, he's sleeping, he ain't paying no bills, and he's grinding you, your mum, your sister, and your cousin. It's a red flag, hon. You have to be able to step into that discernment and say, do you know what, that's a red flag, and have the responsibility and the accountability to respond to the ability within, which is what responsibility is, to take action and get that motherfucker out of your life. You know what I mean? But these are what these lessons are about: upskilling and sharpening your weapons of discernment, sharpening your weapons of intuition, sharpening your weapons of trusting your downloads from spirit and ancestors and divine source, sharpening your clairvoyances. You know, you're hearing telepathic communication, you're tapping into certain things, you're testing certain things, and you're seeing what these outcomes are. Because I'm also the observer in all of this. I'm observing myself going down this route of mental health services. I'm observing myself going down the path of shamanism. I'm observing myself going down the path of becoming an edtech entrepreneur. I'm observing myself changing my dynamics with my children as they're growing up and our parenting dynamics are changing. I'm observing the fact of the financial things that I'm going through. I'm observing the fact of the amount of fucking parking tickets that just keep running through my blood clot yard, and I don't pay for parking. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So there's I've got a lot of plates spinning. I have multiple plates spinning in the 3D, in the 5D and the 4D. But I'm okay with those spinning plates, and while those plates are spinning, I'm still in other dimensions getting on with certain things and spinning plates in those dimensions too. But I got my eye on everything. I got an eye on everything, and that's why they call the divine the all-seeing eye, because he's got an eye on everything. And just to put a note out there to certain people, I don't understand why people move the way that they do in terms of throwing rocks and hiding hands. Think about it. Throwing rocks and hiding hands. The divine is the all-seeing eye. The divine is the all-seeing eye. The divine sees all. What's understood don't need to be explained. Silly.
I've been transparent with you, because as soon as I was concerned today, I just said, look, I think I have a concern here.
And that's the point. As soon as she was concerned today, she took action, which is a little bit of a Mr. Swift move, because you took action. And really, what would have been perhaps more beneficial is to take action next week. Assess this week and base it off next week, because this week is different from last week. So you need another week to make a judgment, because it's like 1, 2, 3, where are we? So that we can get an understanding on the spectrum. Is it that every week we're increasing with more and more information that is alarming, concerning, outside the box, whatever? You know what I mean? But what she's done, she's taken action very, very, very quickly that makes me know I can put a stop in it right now. Now, on one side, that can look like a negative, innit? But on the flip side, that's a positive, because what she's offering is transparency. What she's offering is openness. What she's offering is that I still have a job to do. And this is where I am with it. So there's a perspective where, oh, it's a snaky move. What you mean? Because she's letting me know today, earlier on, that regardless if I want her to report it to my GP, that's exactly what will be happening. So she has the right to override my right. Yeah. So that can be perceived as a negative, because I am in a position and of authority. What I say goes. You understand? So I can either step into, in this particular scenario, at that time, I could have stepped into the lower self, which is ego. No, they're not contacting my GP without my permission. Fuck that. The whole point of disclosing to you is that it's supposed to be a safe place for me to disclose. You've asked me if I'm at risk of harming myself or anybody else. I've quite frankly told you no. So therefore, where is the actual safeguarding concern? And anything in a concerning way has already been proven in the fact that since leaving mental health services in 2024, I have not been of harm to myself or anybody else, which shows that I'm obviously in control of the situation. So even on that note, there isn't any real safeguarding concern. But at the same time, from a 5D spiritual element, the Almighty is showing me that this isn't even about the safeguarding concern. This is about somebody putting forward something to line up with 3 other people so we can push that forward, because we've got other people working on the situation. So when my ancestors and the spiritual team are like, we're going to start downloading ourselves. We're going to start, now that I've done what I've done and certain energy portals have been opened like gateways, they can ascend down and they can Mr. Smith into certain bodies. So when they Mr. Smith into certain bodies, those bodies are working in my favor. So at first, I might want to respond in a way where these people are pretending to give love. It's fake love. You get what I'm trying to say? And being wary over the fake love, because they make a little move and they go and inform social safeguarding, and it's definitely fake love. But the ancestors are like, no, whoa, wait. You don't just rush to assumption. Yeah, wait a little bit, gather the evidence and gather the facts. See how my girl operates moving forward, because you are the observer and we are observing behavior. Everybody is acting and playing a role. Yeah, and we are now paying attention to the roles these people are playing in their acting position, so that we can get a better understanding of not who the fuck is who, because we know who's who, but who is a potential tool that is being used by the divine. I know what the dark forces look like. I'm now looking out for the divine forces, if you like, because you know what I'm saying, from earlier on in the year, there was a big celebration party in the celestial realm, and when I turned up, everybody was already at their table, but they were behind their chairs, clapping on one long table filled with food, and I was the VIP guest. Do you know what I mean? In the celestial, and I'm telling them, no, it's you guys. Like I'm just listening. I just listen. You tell me what I got on, and I just do it. But I wouldn't be doing it if you weren't directing me. So I don't feel like the credit is mine. I feel like the credit is ancestors and the divine and the galactural, celestial teams and every fucking body else. The ants, the bugs, the birds, the bees, the trees, the grass, the water, the wind, the sun, the bomber clock, the moon, the fire, the air. I give gratitude and favor to all of those elemental and archetypes, because they're the real ones putting the work in. And they say to me, no, behave yourself. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody comes when the call is made. And not only that, not everybody stays on track, and not everybody does it fearlessly, and not everybody does it 10 times, 10 toes down, and not everybody does it consistently, and not everybody gives 10, 10 and then some. You know, so it's, not everybody's taking it seriously. You know what I mean? Not everybody's taking it seriously, but you're doing your thing, and because you're doing your thing, we're leaps and bounds ahead of the time. You know what I mean? Like, you're killing it. So they've put on this big party for me to celebrate, you know, whatever's going on for me. And I'm, you know, giving credit and gratitude to them. And they're shutting that down and telling me, no, this party's for you. And everybody's on their feet just applauding. You know what I'm saying? And it's an emotional experience, because I don't get flowers here in the 3D. Like, nobody wants to say I'm doing good. Probably enough of us have that experience too, but it don't matter what I do. No, it never is looked at as anything special, and all I do is special things every day. I'm so special. I'm so special. So special. I do special things every day. I'm magical every fucking day. What I get done every day is magic, pure magic. So how comes nobody wants to give him my flowers? Do you know what I'm saying? 2024, I'm going through my spiritual ascension. I'm waiting on my blood clot flowers. I'm waiting on the front door to knock, because spirit are telling me you're gonna get your flowers. I'm in a 5D experience on stage with all my family and these motherfuckers in the audience, still not wanting to clap and give me my flowers. The spirit said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't want flowers from them. They're not ready. How can I want flowers from people who have no understanding and appreciation of me? Do you know what it's like? It's like being on stage and there being nothing but pigs in the audience. They're not even sitting on the chairs. They're just grunting around on the floor, looking for something to eat and shitting at the same time. They don't know that a band's playing. They don't know that the ancestors are seated. They ain't got a fucking clue what's going on. Yeah, they're just pigs in a theatre. And I'm looking at this audience as this audience is gonna acknowledge me. And I've been looking at it as like it's a disrespect. Fuck these pigs. How come these pigs don't want to see me? I know. I work harder. You got. I'll sing louder. I'll talk more. I'll work longer hours. You get what I'm trying to say? Trying to clean up after these fucking pigs and trying to get them dressed up in outfits. Trying to get them sitting round fucking tables. Trying to get them sitting down and acting accordingly to divine law, to divine standards, to divine expectations. And when I say expectations, let me explain something, because Spirit just gave me a download. Divine law expectations does not say you can't skin out. It does not say you can't run around and be promiscuous. It does not say you can't go out there and do and exercise anything that is in your will. Okay, that's not the issue, and that's where a lot of these people go wrong, because they judge a lot of people thinking, oh, that person can't be spiritual because they go out. That person can't be spiritual because they smoke. That person can't be spiritual because they swear. I swear, and I do all of those things with my ancestors, and I do all of those things with divine in my room. It does not stop. It's celebrated, because I am a duality. I am dark just as much as I'm light. I had a conversation on the bed here after my ascension with Oya, and there was something going on, and something was said on the channel, and last night I was about to say sexual intercourse, but I'm not even sure if that's the right word. But, you know, obviously masturbation, but it's not really sex, is it? And I haven't done it for time. And then I was definitely told not to do it before the full moon and not to do it just after the full moon in that time frame. And obviously we're several days after the full moon now. So last night, it wasn't even just the ancestors. It was my yoni was on it. And I says, I won't I won't have any kind of relationship with myself in that respect unless it's coming from my yoni, unless she's talking. Because let me tell you something, your yoni talks, your penis talks, they have their own mind. And that's why a lot of the time people get caught up in the sexual physical contact, because it's a strong mind too. And if it's not tamed, it can dominate. Whereas my experience is the opposite. I haven't allowed my yoni to have a mind of her own. I haven't allowed her to have an opinion most of my life. My head has done a lot of the leading. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the leading. So now I'm trying to be in my body with how my body feels and be tuned into those energies, be tuned into those changes, be tuned into that flow. And last night I was tuned into a tantric energy, or she was, and she was sharing that energy with me. Why am I telling you this? What was the reason I was about to tell you this? Because obviously something just happened on the bed. There was a reason why I was sharing this with you. I was chilling with Oya, and then after my Oya ascension, something that was said, and then I was talking to something that was said on the channel, and that brought in. I said, oh, because I basically, that experience that I had last night, it was kind of like, if I wasn't pregnant before, I definitely am now. Do you know what I mean? Like, energetically speaking. Okay, energetically speaking, because obviously there's nobody with me, and it's not that type of experience anyway. But energetically experience, like, it was mad. It was completely crazy. Do you know what I mean? It was, and I know there's a case for the fact that it's kind of been a while, but it's not that. It's not that. It's energy, because even time after, that energy was still soaring through my body, and I was able to kind of work with that energy environmentally. Yeah, work with the energy on the, you know, spirit just says to me the lines, like the ley lines. You get what I'm trying to say, and shape certain things and move certain energies, and just be helping certain things wake up. You know, not just in a Christ conscious sense, but you know, there be giants under the ground. Do you know what I mean? And all those kind of things, and fucking transformers and all them things, like everything that they've showed you on TV and made you feel like it's all pretend. It's some real shit. And that's the fucked up story, that the devil has played a good job convincing you that he don't exist. Do you know what I'm saying? How sick is that? You don't think he exists, so therefore he gets to run around and take the piss. Yeah. All right. But like I said, him and the Almighty are brethren. You know, people think, oh, it's one against the other. There is no against. Light is not against dark, and dark is not against light, and the moon is not against the sun, and the sun is not against the moon, and the man is not against woman, and woman is not. It's not that. There is the war that I'm referring to as a war is a perspective of dominance over energy, not that energy itself is in a war. The war is the way people want to yield that energy. But part of that war has been created by these higher divine creators, that we come here to be tested for that. We come here to have our metal tested. That's the whole purpose of this matrix computerized creation. But at the same time, there are different dimensions within that, because even though there was an agreement to come to this earth, there's been certain energies that have had us on a repeat cycle, just abusing us, making us forget. We're in like an amnesia. We don't remember we're gods. It's like they put the pharaohs to sleep, blood. It's like they put the pharaohs to sleep. The clocked on to how to operate at opening of the mouth ceremony, and they've got in there and they've worked certain things with certain people, and it's like some inside motherfucking hoist. They've got, you know, imagine the biblical story of the war in heaven. How Lucifer thought that my man was it, and he wants to create a coup against divine creator. Like, imagine that shit there. Like, really comprehend that level there. This war in heaven. You're thinking, how the fuck can there be a war in heaven? Like, is God not God? Is the creator not the creator? How is there a war like a man has a say? Like, there really is an army that can come up against God's army. Like, you have to put these things into perspective. But because we're going to go along with certain stories and certain energies, I'm just using it as an illustration, a story, if you like, just to kind of support the point that I'm making. That we are that war. We are the masculine, the feminine at war. We are the light and the dark within at war. We are that same war. But the war, as I said, is not about this who's better than anyone. The war is to be in the center of balance and know that both opposing sides are right. Both opposing